to get things warmed up, let's go. We had an email we're going to do first right off the bat. Several months back, I was hit in the driver's side door by a woman that wasn't paying attention and ran through a red light. I still have pain and discomfort, but after 2 MRIs, nothing's showing up. Her insurance company has asked to see my medical records. Should I allow it? I would like to settle and move on. That's from Doug. Doug, that's a very good question, and the key is, you have time. The statute of limitations on any claim is 2 years. So you want to make sure you can only settle it once. You want to make sure when you get there and you get to the time where you're going to do that it's properly at the right time and the case is ripened appropriately. So I'd want to make sure that you're going and seeing the right professionals so that they can give you the right answers, because not all MRIs are created equally, and we don't know exactly what your issue is, so you need to get to those specialists so you can get that properly diagnosed.
We just hear pain and discomfort, but we don't know where that is, and there's certainly a lot of things that could be causing that are serious and wouldn't show on an MRI.
Right.
Yeah, I think I'd encourage you to find a lawyer to talk to.
Right, because the best thing, I tell people all the time, you want to be, you got to have credibility in any kind of claim, and so it's important that you give the information but it's also important that you do it at the proper time. As in many things in life, timing can be everything. So you want to make sure that you're putting your best foot forward and you're giving that information that gives a total picture. Because if you looked at those MRIs right now in isolation, it may look like, oh, there's nothing wrong. And the problem you can get there is, whereas, at the end of the day, the story will tell through the full medical records, but you don't want to set your claim down on a bad path and have the adjuster taking a negative view of your claim prematurely. So it's important to get all that information. Make sure you're attending and seeing the right doctors to diagnose the issues that you're dealing with, and so that you can get that properly evaluated from a medical standpoint, because that's first and foremost, getting better, getting treated, and then you can properly have it taken through the claims process. But it's very important that you have guidance and that you can ask those questions. You got time, but you want to make sure you get on the right path from the get-go. So make sure you do that. Reach out to us or someone like us, and we can get that taken care of for you. But Marcus, fighting the insurance company comes in many different varieties. They have professionals working on their claims from the get-go. I know personally, a lot of us dealt with Hurricane Michael claims, and you get all of this paperwork, and they just throw it at you, and it can be very, very voluminous and can be very, very overwhelming. And one of the best things about hiring someone like us, whether it be in a personal injury case or property damages, there's no upfront fees, there's no cost. I mean, that's something, explain a little bit how we typically work, just for example, in the personal injury context.
Sure, in a personal injury context, the way we work, we sit down with everybody and of course want to find out what's going on with them, but we work on a contingency fee basis. So if we don't earn anything until we collect something, and then we take a percentage of that. But yeah, we go over that with everybody when they come in and explain that to them, that you're not going to pay anything to meet with us. You're not going to, and you're not obligated to hire us if you do come in and meet with us. We're glad to sit down and talk with you about what your rights are and what we think we could do for you going forward.
Right, and and look, one thing we talk about here very frequently, and that we've actually done with many of our LawCall viewers, is going over insurance information with them and making sure you're properly insured in the first instance. Because a lot of times the first time, especially with auto cases and in the homeowners arena as well, people are looking at their policies for the first time when the accident happens, and so they're not. And if I've heard it once, I've heard it a million times. I'm fully insured.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And the legal definition of fully insured means that you just have the state mandatory minimums, which unfortunately under Florida law is only property damage liability in the amount of $10,000. And then the PIP no-fault benefits. And Marcus, just describe for the audience briefly what the no-fault benefits are, and that it doesn't exactly mean what it sounds like it means.
Well, yeah, like a lot of things we get from legislature, its name doesn't exactly describe what it is. But what the no-fault part of Florida's insurance is it covers up to $10,000 of medical damages if you meet certain criteria. Regardless of whose fault it was. And so people will come in saying, well, I know Florida's a no-fault state. Well, yeah, but just for that part, and after that is is more where we get involved and looking at whose fault it is and who's going to be responsible.
Right, and it's critical in order to apply and to get the maximum amount of those no-fault benefits that you seek medical attention within a certain period of time. The Florida statutes require that to be within 14 days. And you got to do that or you lose those benefits, and you will be considered self-insured to the extent that you do not take advantage of that. So it's important that you go and seek attention promptly, and that's what you need to do anyway, because if you're hurting, you're not going to get better unless you deal with it. So it's best to get on that path and make sure you're taking care of yourself. Another provision that you can do in order to take care of yourself that is critical in Florida, because as we mentioned earlier, individuals are not mandated to carry bodily injury coverage, which is the type of coverage that you need to be able to look to in order to pursue a claim against somebody and have an insurance company step in and potentially provide you with compensation. The way you can protect against that is to buy uninsured motorist coverage. And Marcus, explain briefly how the uninsured motorist coverage works under Florida law.
Sure. Under Florida law, uninsured motorist is going to cover your damages that if they don't have bodily injury, because like you said, they don't have to, or if they don't have enough to cover your damages, then absolutely that's when you're on UM, and that's really that's what you pay for that you might get something back from.
Right.
A lot of what you pay for in car insurance is what would go to somebody else. But your UM is crucial because, as Ted said, so many people in Florida don't have any bodily injury, and you could certainly be left holding the bills.
Absolutely.